there, it's Liz Yuille from Old Stables Crafts again. Welcome back, and today is Make It Up Monday. So you know what? I'm actually going to make it up. I'm going to use the You've Got Style stamp set. I wonder if this might be a bit of a Marmite. Not sure that will translate outside the UK. However, one of those you love it or hate it stamp sets, but I just think it's hysterical. And it's got a cat in it, so that can't be bad, can it? So, I've not used this much. I have used this, this lady and the cat before. I've not used this, but I thought I would just give it a go and see what happens. So this could be a complete disaster, or it might work. You never know. Should we find out? So, I'm going to use the lady in the fur coat, which I'm sure is terribly non-PC these days, but let's pretend it's a fake fur. I'm going to use my standard stamping mat, the smaller stamping mat, which is 5.5 by 3 3/4 or 14 by 9 1/4 centimetres. Don't worry about writing this down, it'll be on the associated post below. Then this is a piece of Melon Mambo, and it is at 5 5/8 and 3 7/8, which is 14 1/4 by 9 3/4. And then this is Chocolate Chip, which is a colour I don't use that often, but I thought because it's a slightly pinker brown than the early espresso, I would use this. And this is a piece of A4 cut in half to A5, scored down the middle to make a standard A6 card base, which for those of us working in metric is our standard size. Having said that, as most of you know, I don't actually work in metric, I work in inches. However, so I am thinking, let's see, she is standing there and her little kitty cat is going to go there, and then across the top we're going to have something along the lines of probably You Can't Improve on Fabulous. So I'm actually going to, with my chocolate chip, I'm going to stamp the little pussycat first, and I'm just going to ink him up and pop him down. It would have been so much better if I'd have put this on straight, really, wouldn't it? Let's at least have the card straight. So I'll pop him there. And then, whilst that's still quite damp, I've got a piece of scrap Whisper White here. I'm just going to pull in, or really pull out, some of the ink, because I want his front legs to stand out from the rest of him. So I'm kind of pulling into the middle so that everything behind is a bit darker. Do be careful not to do too much going over the same spot, because it can mean that your paper will pill. And then I'm just going to draw around his face, avoiding his eyes, his nose and the insides of his ears. But that just adds a little bit of colour. And then if I clean that off, I can bring in, I will be using that again, Blushing Bride, so that I can give him, oops, actually I wanted the lid, a little bit of a pink nose, and pink ears. And clean that off again. I just want those a little bit browner, they're standing out a bit too much. And I just remembered I've missed a colour. Bear with me. I need my Soft Sky, because I'm thinking he is sort of oriental, and oriental cats quite often have blue eyes. So there we go. Isn't that just the cutest thing in the world? And then I want to, not to put my hand in my chocolate chip, I'm going to, with my Melon Mambo, just give him, probably her actually, a pink collar. Now I could have been using my grid paper for scribbling on, but I did some practice stamping on the back just to check which colour would be best for pulling in. I did start with Soft Suede, which for those of you who know me know it's one of my favourite neutrals, but it went a funny green colour when I pulled it in. But look, isn't that the cutest thing? Doesn't actually look like any of my cats, but that's not his fault, her fault. Right, so now let's ink up our biggest image, or our bigger image. And it's going to be easier for me if I do it this way round. And let me just check, yep, her feet are very much level with the bottom of the stamp. Just let that sink in properly. And there we go. And again, I might need some of that. I'm going to get my blender pen and just... Now I'm working on the premise that this is a white fur coat because it's going to be easier that way. I might add a bit more colour on the bottom of her coat, but definitely the collar and cuffs are going to be white. I'll bring a little bit more in so that we can do some shading. It's probably too much, but I can bring that, yeah, it was too much, but there we go. We can bring that down a bit more and just emphasize that one a bit more so that that blends in. And again, and then of course, because this overlaps, you would expect this edge to be darkest. Just want to get rid of some of the colour. Oop, and I have just got a bit of fluff. Let's pull that into that line. It's quite nice having these lines to work up to because it gives you somewhere to aim your pen at. And there'll be a bit of a shadow there, and a bit more of a shadow there, and then a bit more of a shadow there. And probably along the edge there, because it's at the bottom of her coat. And I'm just going to pull a little bit of this out down here because again there will be a bit of a shadow there and under her chin. And there and there and there. So not beautiful, beautiful, but you get the idea. Oh, and because it's August, it's just started raining, so that's perfect. We can't forget her hat. So I'm going to just turn her upside down so it's slightly easier for me to deal with her hat. And again, the bottom of her hat there will be shadowed. Right, so that's her coat, which I'm actually not that unhappy with. I just want to get rid of a couple of the... That's better. You see, there was a definite line there, and I don't like definite lines. That's better. Right, so that's the chocolate chip done. Now, a bit of Blushing Bride, which I'm going to use just here, where her cheeks are, and then just bring that down again. I'm just trying to highlight, I'm just trying to get the shadows a bit. I'm not going to worry too much about having colour all over her face. I just want it to be in the sort of more obvious places where it would be and where there would be a bit of shadow. But she's an older lady, so she may not have a huge amount of colour in her complexion. She's an older lady that's had a little bit too much to drink. So I'm just going to get a tiny amount of the Soft Sky and just add a little bit to where her glasses are, just so that they've got a bit of a difference. And then I'm going to give her Melon Mambo shoes to match her cat, or her cat's collar. Teeny bit there for lipstick and earrings. And then do need a bit more blushing bride, because she still needs a bit of shadowed. Ooh, we've got too much of the Melon Mambo on there still. That's why you should clean your blender pen off better. That's better. Good. Okay, so she's drinking champagne. I mean, of course she's drinking champagne, darling. Actually, I've just noticed some other bits that need to be pink, so we'll do that before we go. But then we need to do her champagne, darling. So let's carry on the pink theme on her rings. Lovely. And then the champagne, darling. I'm going to try a bit of Sahara Sand, because champagne actually isn't that darker colour. So just a bit of Sahara Sand. And then, just to tie the Melon Mambo in, let's pop that away, let's grab You Can't Improve on Fabulous. Because, darling, you can't improve on Fabulous, you know. Yeah, that's probably the block I need. Let's line that up there. And then, you can't improve on Fabulous. I don't know why I'm in the mood for stamping everything at from a funny angle, but there we go. You can't improve on Fabulous. Right, okay. So I'm actually going to, I've just had a thought, because she's drinking champagne, so let's make it sparkly. And what I'm also going to do is clear everything out of the way. In fact, I might bring in a bit of scrap just to protect what's there, and just add a little bit of a shimmer. You don't have to hit too hard with your Wink of Stella onto something, just a gentle tap, but it just adds that. I don't know if you can I get that? I don't know if you can see that, but I can see that it's just got that and it ties in nicely with the champagne. So let us build the card. I'll pop that to one side so that I can dry a bit whilst I grab my ever faithful, actually I'm going to do it this way up. Don't know why, it doesn't make any difference, but there we go. My ever faithful Tombow, and it's actually quite good that you can see the not huge amount that I use. Pop that down, and then again more Tombow on this piece. And it's just the smallest little edge of Melon Mambo peeking through. And actually, you know what? I think we need some more Melon Mambo, because why not? You can't have too much Melon Mambo in my life. It's a fab colour. Melon Mambo. I just keep my enamel shapes in a half wood case. So, I think these call for stars. So let's have a star there, and a star there, and a star here. I like triangles, which is probably why I use 3. So there we go. I made it up and it's a Monday. I hope you enjoyed that. I think she is such fun. And if you have a favourite, I don't know, aunt, grandmother, who's a bit of a, you know, character, I think that would be just fabulous, darling. So there we go. If you enjoyed that, please do give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more, then just hit subscribe down there. And you're going to want to buy this stamp set. You are definitely going to want to buy this stamp set. So there's a link to that below and the blog post. So I look forward to welcoming you as a customer very soon, if you're not already. So I will see you very soon.